Hey guys, all right, it is Monday. We've got some martial powers lined up for today. We're going to do some more development, converting monk classes, subclasses into the power paradigm. We just installed the new updated version of OBS Studio, so let's see if it is properly streaming my stuff. And God willing, it will be. And then we can go ahead and get things up and running. I'm going to check. Looks like it's up. So we're going to check my signal here real quick. And then we'll go through my intro spiel. And then we'll get to work here for probably about maybe an hour and a half or so. So for those that are checking us out in the future, hey future, you can skip ahead like a minute or two. And then we'll start actually diving into the power system. I'm going to do a mic check here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do a mic check here. 1, 2. Sounds pretty solid. So that's good to go. So I'm now going, so yeah, if you're here in the future, go ahead and skip ahead. We're going to start our intro spiel here for those that aren't familiar with this stream already or that are here now. Hey guys, welcome to the present. My name is Phil. I create role-playing game supplements. I publish them online. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. There you go. So we've been focusing our attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here for the past 5 years. There is a slew of links in the description down below to various projects that I have published already. Down below, if you click on any of those DMsGuild links, they will take you to the individual product pages, like stuff that you see here on screen. These are various book covers that we've been creating. They all have extensive previews, so if you click into any of them, if you're on a desktop, there'll be a label that says full preview underneath the book cover. If you are on a mobile device, there'll be an eye icon on the right-hand side of the screen. Whether you click the eye or the full preview link, it'll open up a PDF. You can look at the free preview content inside the PDF. If you're usually here because you love artwork, there's probably about 150 different illustrations across those various projects. If you're here for 5e game design, or if you're a DM or a player and you're just looking at, what's new out there or what's this guy got going on, well met. I'm glad to have you. I'm a DM that runs, I've been around for 36 years. I run D&D campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 200 to 250 hours before starting a new campaign over. Most of the books that I've published online are the result of campaigns that I have actively been running that I needed additional tools to be able to work properly, or I had the idea for tools, so I built a campaign to see if it works, and if when they do, we then build out the mechanics, build the book, illustrate the book, publish it online, and then provide a free PDF for people to take a look at how those things work. Amongst which I would say the flagship largest project that I've done so far is the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rules, which converts the spell casting system of spell slots and the 8 schools of magic from Dungeons & Dragons into the 5-color magic paradigm, where you have a pool of mana that is devoted to different colors, and all the magic that's in the world is devoted to one or more of those colors. You spend mana related to the color that you're trying to cast. If I want to throw a fireball, I'm going to have at least 1 point of red mana. It's a 3rd level spell, so it costs me 3 mana to cast it. 1 has to be red, the other can be whatever. But then I cast the spell, then bam, everything happens like you'd expect it to happen in Dungeons & Dragons. That's great for like half of the classes in the game that are casters. But there's a whole other half of the game that doesn't have casters, which are lovingly, typically called martials. Hence the creation of the martial power system, an opportunity for us to take the classes that aren't spellcasters, that have things they can do, and to create a similar mana resource system so that all 13 classes in the game are going to use the same resource system with the same cost per level of casting with similar results, so that we can build characters, any kind of character, and multi-class them successfully to be able to have a common language that is typically going to be color mana, but we also have like we have an elemental system as well, like air, earth, fire, water, like the last airbender. If you want to have a bending campaign, we can accommodate that for you also. But I usually speak in the words of color because I am such an MTG enthusiast. Since Wizards of the Coast and Magic the since Wizards of the Coast owns both D&D and Magic the Gathering, we had all been anticipating for a long time when Wizards would start building MTG role-playing stuff that we could use in D&D. And when they did with the Gilligan Master's Guide to Ravnica, wasn't a single word about magic, color magic anywhere. So at that point, we realized that they aren't going to support it, so it's going to be up to us, which triggered me to start creating these books. Martial Powers, the project that we're working on currently, is just the most recent book that we're creating. So if you think this stuff is cool, we are currently at, well, I just posted that I'm live on Twitter here at Phil Kearney. You can follow me on Twitter X at Phil Kearney if you want to get notifications when I'm live in the future, as well as see different images and stuff that I've created for the different books that we create. You are welcome to check all that stuff out. I'd ask that you like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications when we're live in the future. My first goal here on YouTube is to get to 500 subscribers, and we're at 236 already. So thanks a lot, guys, for being around. We just want to keep growing the channel so more people can see what we do. We provide so much content for free. We just want to be able to provide value to everybody, and be able to create magic systems that people can use in D&D to play the game the way that they want to play it. So we are going to get back into this. We are currently at episode 92. So there's obviously 91 episodes prior to this, going through the process of what are we talking about, what's the idea here, all the way up to where we are currently at fleshing out all the subclasses. So when we last left our team last week, we had finished building the Way of the Kinsei. And as you can see here, the feats, the features of the class that we're getting out of the D&D Beyond. The next will be the Way of the Long Death. So we're going to grab Way of the Long Death here. It's, wow, short and sweet. Let's see if it can continue to remain sweet and short. So I'm going to open this up here. We're going to take a look at what the monk has, and then knowing what we do about the power system that we've created, we're going to translate the features. And then once the features are more settled with what mechanics are inside of this powers book, we're then going to build a kit of bonus powers that you gain. As you can see here, Way of Kinsei got 10. Every subclass that we build here gets a set of 10 additional new powers that they add on top of the powers that they can just choose to learn. And down here, we're looking at the front end. Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to tell you guys. For people that want to play along, you can go into the playtest content and early looks here on my Patreon. You do not have to be a member of my Patreon to benefit from the front end playtesting content that we have here. Let's scroll down to the Martial Powers article. Playtest content for Martial Powers. YouTube streams here. That's here right now. Hey guys. If you click on the Martial Powers playtest button, whoop, it'll pop it open, this open playtest content. This is the same content that we were just looking at a second ago here, except that yours is going to be a read-only version. Once this thing gets published online, I can extract all this stuff because you'll have a preview on DMsGuild. And this isn't official language yet. It's still very alpha, rough draft. We're going to be playing, we're going to be starting a 3rd to 7th level playtest just to test the 1st and 2nd tier. My own home table tested 3rd and 4th tier for the past 9 months. We love it. So I want to make sure it feels good at the low levels as well before I sign off on everything and start stitching it up and sending it off to editing so that the words will make sense. So let's see. You get Martial Powers progression table. Hybrid points are for like paladins and rangers, artificers. You get a stack of mana over the course of 20 levels. You get 40 of that, basically 2 per level, that you get back on a long rest. Martial characters such as barbarians, monks, fighters, rogues. They have martial points that are regained on a short rest, just like a monk's key would be. 1, 2, 3, 4. You gain 1 per level up to 20 at 20th level, and again you regain them on a short rest. You also gain known powers. You can choose any of the powers that are in the book. We have 207 powers total. 149 of them require you to spend mana when channeling the power. There's 58 meta powers further down below that don't require any mana to use. So if you wanted to have a simple martial character that doesn't use any mana resources at all and is just rough and ready to go, you can skip all of the mana powers and just go into the meta powers, which includes combat masteries, feats, and types of damage. So you can learn off of this learned list of up to 16 powers. you could choose, if you wanted to say learn a bunch of combat masteries. This is similar to the weapon masteries, except that these are just instead of being a weapon mastery, something that you can do using this weapon. These are combat masteries, which are things you can do in combat with weapons you're proficient with. So if you're proficient with weapon, you can use this weapon mastery, like a druid could use push or whatever, topple, and but a fighter could learn combat, could learn push, trip, straggle, step, 1, 2, 3 of these combat masteries at first level. So any level that the fighter is proficient with, which is almost all of them, then you'd be able to grapple or trip or push any target while you're using that weapon, using the rules that we have here. There's also a stack of 30 different combat and exploration social feats that exist inside of the game that you can learn instead. So you could learn 16 of them over the course of 20 levels. So you can save your 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 19 ASI gains. You can actually use your ASI on them, because by, say, 3rd level, if you wanted to really kit out feats and not worry about how low, like how minimal your mana battery is as the first couple levels, you could choose instead just to learn a ton of masteries and feats and not have to worry about mana at all, and be able to have an action loop that's going to be able to consistently perform for you with, like, say, Polearm Master and Sentinel, or a Great Weapon Master. We'll see how these things evolve into 2024, but it looks like most of 5th edition is going to remain unchanged. So this stuff should remain largely relevant for us. And then the last is the damage types. You can choose to learn power instead of gaining a maneuver or a meta discipline feat. You could choose to just know how to, like, when you hit with a weapon, it deals acid damage. This knife is going to deal fire damage, not piercing damage plus fires. Like, this axe is going to do nothing but lightning damage. These are really useful in getting around damage resistances at low levels. So super useful. If you're using a magic paradigm, depending on what colors of magic it is that you're devoted to, is going to give you free types of damage. So, like, say your Boros, which is white and red, right? So white has access at first level to cold damage and eventually radiant damage. Red has access to fire damage or lightning and force damage at higher levels. So if you were to go with the Boros Legion, which are white and red, at first level, you get access to fire and lightning damage. At 5th level, you'd have access to force and radiant damage. So these are some perks that you have to cut yourself off from other colors. If you were, say, Golgari instead, which is black and green. Black has acid and then necrotic damage at 5th level, and green has poison damage, which could also be lightning, and eventually has thunder damage. So Golgari would start off with having either acid and or poison damage, and then at later levels you gain necrotic and or thunder, if you please. So, and then of course there's the Strixhaven colleges, which gives you the same combination options. There's also Theros, which gives you options here as well. So that's a quick breakdown of how you can spend powers. There's also sustained effects, which are things you can maintain concentration on, such as blind sense. You're aware of the location of any creature or object in the same plane of existence as you within 10 feet, times your max rank of power. And of course you gain powers as a half-caster. So if you were to pick that up at first level, you'd have a first rank power. And your max rank would be first power, so you can see creatures up to 10 feet away with your blind sense, including walls, floors, ceilings, and structures in range, though you can't identify things like color or written text on these objects using blind sense alone. So that'd be a first rank power. So as long as you're maintaining concentration, you'd have 10 feet of blind sense, for instance. And that would eventually evolve into something like having lycanthropy, which is also a first rank power. You can give yourself lycanthropy to take on the form of a creature and gain some critter perks. But as you increase in levels, like say to once you get to 9th level, when you have access to 3rd rank powers, you could do things like have celerity, which is while you're maintaining concentration, you have double movement speed, bonus armor class, advantage on dexterity saving throws. You can take a bonus action to dash, dodge, disengage, or make an attack. There you go. But it doesn't have the downside of stunning you when it wears off, because it's more efficient for martial characters to be able to use it only on yourself as opposed to being able to hasten a fighter over there. So it has some restrictions and it has some optimizations. Almost all these sustained powers are things that you affect yourself with. There are things you can do to affect other people with. These are called maneuvers, and maneuvers can do things like, so there's sustained powers, which are concentrations, strikes, which are like smites, you deal extra damage and cause an effect. There's reactions, which is when you take the reaction, you spend a point or more of mana to be able to do a thing to somebody. You have the maneuvers, which is either an action, bonus action, or you could do it twice as both an action and a bonus action. To do things like phase, you can become incorporeal until the beginning of your next turn. You can move through other creatures and objects as though they were difficult terrain. Pack tactics you can gain till you can use when you channel this maneuver. Target a creature you can see. Other creatures gain advantage to hit that target until the beginning of your next turn. A lot of this stuff is going to sound very familiar to you, but it's just being built into a different power resource that your characters gain a mana pool to be able to take advantage of, and you can refresh it and exploit it. So various different tools you can use here, all these things, and all the classes as we gain in levels. You gain a stack of these things, like the step mastery. When you hit somebody, you can take a 5-foot step. That's something that the Kinsei can do. When you learn Way of the Kinsei, you just gain that combat mastery. Dire Impact allows you to add your channeling ability score to the damage rolls that you're making, even if you normally wouldn't be able to do so. Like if a monk could choose Strength, Dexterity, or Wisdom to be their channeling class feat, to be their channeling ability score. So when you hit somebody with a fist and you wanted to make Wisdom be your channeling ability score, you pop somebody with a fist, you're going to add that proficiency modifier, you're going to add that stat modifier to your damage roll. There you go. So you gain those, and neither one of those costs, well, sustained is a 1 mana cost, but you only have 1 mana anyway. At 3rd level, you can only channel 1 rank of power, and you have multiple points of mana, so you can sustain that thing, and you'll still have a hell of a battery for you to be able to kick things around. So I think that's probably a fast enough crash course. If you want a really thorough breakdown of how all the mechanics work for all the different classes and all the caveats and ways to cheat in extra mana and additional action economy based on class features, just check out the last 91 streams, and you can see how it has progressed to its common day now. And of course, if you dive into the available playtest document, you can read this entire thing along with me here while I'm live. It's currently 83 pages, so jump on in here with me, and we're gonna keep tearing this stuff up. So here we are, Way of the Long Death. We're gonna peel apart Way of the Long Death here. With our features, we're gonna pick up, let's just go up here to features and go features. Let's see, Way of the Long Death. Touch of Death. So Touch of Death is the 3rd rank feature. Touch of Death. And then we have Hour of Reaping. And then we have Mastery of Death. Mastery of Death. Mastery of Death. And then we have Touch of the Long Death. And then we have Mastery of Touch of the Long Death of the what is it? Sorry. Touch of the Long Death. Not to be confused with Touch of Death. This touch is much longer. So let's see how this shit plays out. We'll modify it, knowing what we know about martial powers. When we're done modifying it, we'll start building a kit of powers that complement what these features do. So let's see. Touch of Death, using my best narrative voice. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you study your study of death allows you to extract vitality from another creature as it nears its demise. When you reduce a creature within 5 feet of you to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to your Wisdom modifier plus your Monk level, minimum of 1 temporary hit point. You gain temporary hit points equal to your Wisdom modifier plus your Monk level, minimum of 1 temporary hit point. Okay. Well, obviously it's going to be a minimum of 1 temporary hit point. Well, Wisdom modifier. I guess that could be a negative. That's Sure. Let's see. When you reduce a creature to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points. Hey, Alan, what's doing? My face is all weirding right now, so I'm trying to pull my face palette together. Starting here, starting there. There. Way of the Long Death. Touch of the Long Death. Alright, so starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you study the death. Your study of death allows you to extract vitality from another creature as it nears its demise. When you reduce a creature within 5 feet of you to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to your wisdom to your channeling ability modifier, which could be intelligence, it could be wisdom, it could be strength, it could be dexterity. Channeling ability modifier plus monk level, minimum of 1 temporary hit point. I don't have any reason to change that. I'm just going to let it go. Hour of Reaping. This could be that quick. That'd be exciting. Can you imagine me having the time to get through 2 of these? Wow. Hour of Reaping at 6th level, you gain the ability to unsettle or terrify those around you as an action, for your soul has been touched by the shadow of death. When you take this action, each creature within 30 feet of you that you can see must succeed a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you until the end of your next turn as an action. Must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you. Okay. You know what? Honestly, I don't think I have a reason to change that. You gain the ability of a terrify those around you for your soul. When you take this action... Okay, there's a fear effect that we have in here already. That is a maneuver which could be used as an action or as a bonus action. So let's go check that out real quick. Fear, frighten, terrorize, terrify, wave of terror. You can choose any number of creatures within 30 feet of you to make a wisdom saving throw. Each creature that fails is frightened of you. The effect ends for a creature when it succeeds a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns, or if it loses line of sight of you. Okay, so that's a 3-mana effect. Everyone gets to make a saving throw. What do you got going on? Everyone gets to make a saving throw, and they're frightened of you until the end of your next turn. When you gain the ability, at 6th level, you gain the ability to unsettle or terrify those around you, for your soul has been touched by the shadows of death. When you take this action, yeah, I can leave that. This has no limit to how often you can use it, but it does use an action. As opposed to this, which will cost you 3 mana, it has multiple rounds that it can stay in effect. And you could use that as either an action or a bonus action. So I think there's enough value there for us to leave our reaping as it... Is that what it's called? Sure. Honestly, no changes. So, yeah. No changes. Technically, we word it as no changes. There's rules about how much text I can just duplicate from the player's handbook or another Wizards of the Coast IP when we publish on DMsGuild. So in situations like this, instead of me just duplicating the entire text chain for whatever that feature is, it's just best to put it as, like, say, no changes, see Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. For instance. Mastery of Death. Beginning at 11th level, you use your familiarity with death to escape its grasp. When you are reduced to 0 hit points, you can expend 1 key point, no action required, to have 1 hit point instead. Jesus. When you are reduced to 0 hit points. Okay, now we have a... No action required. Mastery of Death. God damn. Let's check out. We have a reaction in here that corresponds with that. It's different. Rite of Revival. As a reaction to when you drop to 0 hit point but don't die outright, you remain conscious and roll a number of power dice equal to the mana burned, which is 4 or maybe 5. Gaining that many hit points instead, up to your maximum hit point total. So this gives you 1 for free, and it doesn't even take an action to do it. Or you can spend 4 points, use a reaction, and get potentially up to 5d10 worth of hit points. So, yet again, this is really good, but we do have a change in language that we need to process, so let's change it. 11th level, when you use your familiar with death to escape its wrath, when you reduce to 0 hit points, you can expend 1 mana. Not a big difference, but it is a change in language because we don't use key, discipline, martial, bloody, blood points. We use mana around here because mana is a universal power. To have 1 hit point instead. Okay. Touch Unknown Death. Starting at 17th level, your touch can channel the energy of death into a creature as an action. You touch 1 creature within 5 feet of you, and you expend 1 to 10 key points. The target must make a Constitution saving throw, and it takes 2d10 necrotic damage per key point spent on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Okay. 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 Okay, we can do this. We're going to change it. We don't spend 10 mana around here. 1 to 10 key points. We tend to cap at 5 key points that you can spend just as a universal mechanic because they're half casters and their maximum rank of power is 5, and you can't channel more than 5 mana at a time, so we can't really have a feature running around here that lets you channel more than that, right? So, how we want to do this instead. As an action, you touch 1 creature within 5 feet of you and you spend 1 to 10 key points. The target must make a Constitution saving throw, and it takes up to 20d10 necrotic damage if you spend 10 key points on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. We could potentially do that. As an action, you can touch 1 creature within 5 feet of you and expend 1 to 10 mana. The target must make a Constitution saving throw, and it takes 2d10 necrotic damage per point of mana spent on a failed save. Yeah, okay. Let's just leave it be for now. I'm putting this under questionable. Wait. Your touch can channel the energy of death into a creature as an action. And you burn 1 to 10 mana. See, okay, so the debate here is I could leave it like this, where you could channel up to 10 mana. You could burn up to 10 mana to do 20d10 necrotic damage. They get a saving throw to reduce that to 10d10. Or we could make it an attack roll, and if they hit, they spend 5 mana, dealing 2d10 necrotic damage per mana spent, and you don't have to worry about spending it until you hit. The second method, hey, what's up? Can save you from Mastery of Death. Oh, yeah. Mastery of Death's pretty useful. Yeah, can save you from disintegration. When you are reduced to 0 hit points, you can spend, you can burn 1 mana. Yeah, it's pretty useful. Yeah, it doesn't even require an action. It's going to burn your mana down pretty quickly, though, because you can get hit 4 times that round, and you have to burn a point of mana every time you get hit. So, if you're getting caught flat-footed, basically, if you're getting caught in a mob and you get drops, is going to eat your mana fast. So I don't actually have... The only problem that it really has is if your DM is typically throwing a single big bad evil boss that hits like a glass cannon. It only lasts a couple of rounds against the team as a whole. This is a non-threat to a normal monk with a short rest recovery. So there's tips and tactics we're going to have to include in the DM section about, hey, how do you be smart about characters that can do crazy crap? Because there's not a lot of good advice out there that Wizards is providing about this stuff. There's plenty of YouTube channels that grow around it. But that means we have to bake all that stuff in. So you can't assume to, hey, go check out such and such's channel. But so how am I feeling about this? Am I okay with this? Let's just leave it be. Per mana. Sure. All right. Well, let's just leave it be until we find something that tells us otherwise. And we have every right to do a final pass through over on this. We may decide to bring that down. I think the Way of the Open Hand similarly violates mana limits. I'm not positive. We'll check that out. But yeah, let's just leave it be for now. Powerless. We're going to stop at the top. We're going to start at the top end and work our way down. Again, half casting progression. First rank of power at 1st, second rank of power at 5th, third rank of power at 9th, fourth rank of power at 13th, fifth rank of power at 17th. The twist here is that no power is above fourth rank. So a character will gain access to the full list of 209 powers by the time you get to 13th level, but you'll be able to spend more mana than that by 17th. So when we're building out a class feature, you gain 2 free powers at 3rd, then 2 at 5th, then 2 at 9th, 2 at 13th, and then 2 at 17th. So we start at 17th level and we will work our way forward, seeing if there's any high-end cool stuff that we want to make sure that we have in the class. And at some point, we're going to get down to the point where we're looking at, well, what's a cool feat that we can give somebody that won't cost you any mana at 3rd level since you have so little of it. Again, leaning into that play style. So we start with, we will start with 4th rank sustained powers and work our way forward from there. So when you trigger this power, roll 3 d20 fate dice. When you later roll a d20 while this power is sustained, which means maintaining concentration on it, you can choose to replace the result with any one of these fate dice. Each fate die can be used once. While this power is sustained, you can burn 1 point of mana as a bonus action during your turn, ignoring any max channel limits to do so, to roll an additional fate die, replacing any results or regaining an expended fate die. Unused fate dice are lost when the power ends. So like if I rolled 3d20 and I got like a 1, a 4, and a 19, I could spend an extra point of mana to replace that 1 with a different die roll. I could then burn another point to replace that 4 with a different die roll. If I then later used the 19 and I'm still sustaining Master of Fate, I could then burn a 3rd point of mana to roll another die. Say I roll a 12. So I would then have like, I'd have 2 dice. I'd still have 3 dice again. I replaced 2 of them, the 1 and the 4, I replaced with new die rolls. I spent the 19. I'm going to spend another point of mana to get another d20 in the hopper. These are just results that I can hang on to be able to trigger whenever I want. Kind of like an on-demand instant divination, what is it called? Portent effect. And it costs a lot of mana to do it, and you have to maintain concentration on it, and otherwise you'll lose all the dice. Having said all that, I don't think it really resonates with what Long Death is, so I'm going to skip it. Ghost Walker, I know it has the word ghost in the title, but your character is very much about not being dead. as opposed to functioning well while dead. So I'm going to skip that. Daunting Presence. While sustaining this effect, attack rolls against you are made with disadvantage. Daunting Presence actually kind of resonates with the idea of the what is it? Hour of Reaping, which is the fear effect. That can make things scared of you when you sustain. So I think, yeah, actually, I think Daunting Presence has a legitimate use here. Daunting Presence. That's a sustained, a third rank sustained power. We refer to it as sus 3. What else you got? What you got? Just because we're layering these things in, we may decide to stack them in differently later. I like the changes they made to UA8 today, by the way, the new changes they're proposing for the monk. Nothing in the book nothing that we have here is thwarted by what they did with the monk. In fact, all that they've done is they provided us with additional good features that we can add on to what we have here. Oh yeah, that reminds me. We do have a change to Stunning Strike. Credit where credit is due, and helped in part molded by the new revisions that Wizards has made to Stunning Strike. Let's go find it. Stunning Strike. When using martial powers, Stunning Strike is a first rank strike power that deals force damage. If the target, so when you hit somebody and you spend a point of mana, so the way that Stunning Strike now works according to UA8, and that's probably how it's going to stick because it's a really good option, is you hit somebody with it, you spend the point of key, they make it a Constitution saving throw. If the target fails the Constitution saving throw, they are stunned until the beginning of my next turn. And if they succeed the saving throw, they aren't stunned, and instead they take a martial arts die of damage. So what is that? How are we obviously going to change that? We're just going to convert Stunning Strike into a power. All strike powers. Let's go take a look at strike powers real quick because they're fun. Yeah, here we go. Let's go with paralyzing. Paralyzing Strike, 3 mana. Your weapon can deal psychic damage and increases by 1 power die per mana burned. In addition, the creature is paralyzed. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a Constitution saving throw. So it will remain paralyzed until it can manage to save its way out of it. And or you know, anything that is overclocked, like if it has a DC that it absolutely cannot ever succeed, at worst it will be free of the effect that is affecting it when it finishes a long rest. So if you're paralyzed, you pass out, you wake up, you're not going to be paralyzed anymore if you are never able to succeed the saving throw. So your weapon can deal psychic damage and increases by 1 power die. Is a third rank power, so it requires 3 dice. And at third rank, you're going to be rolling a D8 power die. So your weapon can deal psychic damage and increases, and the damage increases. So it's going to be 3d8 psychic damage on top of whatever type of weapon you hit with. On top of it, the creature's automatically paralyzed. That is different because the way that that Stunning Strike works now in UA8 is I hit you, I then spend the point of key, you get a saving throw. If you succeed, I'll do 1 power die or martial arts die of damage to you, and then we're done. If you fail the saving throw, I don't do extra damage, and you're paralyzed until the beginning of my next turn. So the way that we modify Stunning Strike is that when I hit you, it's considered a strike power. So, but only the monk has access to it, right? So at 5th level, I get this unique first rank Stunning Strike power. So when I hit you, I can then spend a point of mana. I'll deal an extra die of damage no matter what. And then you make a saving throw. If you fail the saving throw, you're stunned. And you will recover from the stun at the beginning of your next turn. There you go. Very simple. All we're doing is we're switching it up so that our Stunning Strike is remaining consistent with all the other strikes that we provide. It can be chained with other things, as usual, using the rules of chaining strikes. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody since you're probably going to be interested about UA8 and what does that mean for us. All it really means is that we get more toys, but that was the only toy that needed to be changed, and we actually improved on it. So I'm really happy about that. That means that the paralyzing strike that we have in here remains relevant with 3 mana versus like your character would, even though you're a monk and you get the stunning strike at 5th level, picking up paralyzing strike. Paralyzing is worse than stunning, and it lasts longer. So it's actually worth picking up. And that is always what I wanted to have available, that the monk has a great default option, but we can provide you with something that does better. And that is exactly what we're doing here. So I am super useful. I'm super happy with that. That ended up being very, very useful. So I'm really liking where the monk is at for a UA8. That's all I'm really going to say about it for now. Ooh, life stealing. That actually makes a ton of sense for Monk of the Long Death. And that is a 2nd rank strike. So let's call it life stealing strike. SDR2. Let's go back to our sustained powers to see what else is in here that we can fish out before we get to any more off course than we already are. Let's switch this up so I can see the text just a little bit better there whenever it comes in. Perfect. Let's see. Ghost Wallace, no. Daunting Presence we decided was good. Sturdy, like a lobster. No. Deadly Presence. When your power is sustained and you are not restrained, stunned, paralyzed, or incapacitated, any creature you can see that begins its turn or moves within reach of your melee attack takes 1 power die of damage per mana sustained. It's basically like a Spirit Guardian, but its reach, its distance is determined by the reach of your melee weapon that you're using. That, even though it's called Deadly Presence, it doesn't, I don't think it specifically resonates with Long Death. Deadly Presence, that's, you know, more than anything, that feels like a Kinsei thing. Let's go back and see the Kinsei real quick. Did I decide to pick that up? Deadly Presence? Nah, didn't take it. That's fine. Castigation. When you channel this power, choose a creature you can see. And nah, you always know which direction it is. Nah. No. Swift Assessment. Not so much. Saving Grace. When sustaining this power, you have advantage on saving throws with 1 ability score of your choice. You can channel this power more than once, simultaneously, choosing a different ability score with each channeling. And that's a 1st rank power, so you can channel up to 5. So you could theoretically give yourself advantage on all saving throws except for 1. But that doesn't feel specifically like a Long Death sort of thing either. So I'm just going to skip past that. We do our first sweep for stuff that feels obvious flavor. And if we get 10 of them, awesome. But most likely we won't. And if we won't, we're going to have to start BSing stuff. Which will be easy enough to do. Yeah, no, not Dire Impact. Alright, and let's see. Delusional, no. Poisoning, not specifically. Intimidating. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burn, and the creature is frightened of you until it loses line of sight of you. You are incapacitated, or when it succeeds a saving throw. You kind of already get that, so it's a little redundant. Necrotic Strike. Your weapon can deal force or necrotic damage and add 1 power die per mana burned. What I definitely want to do, I know, is 5th level necrotic damage. Dam 5. That's one of the bonus damage types you can gain at 5th level, so that seems to be the best place for this to sit. What else you got? See, in the Necrotic Strike, it just deals extra damage. And you can gain that. See, okay, so interesting point here. Strikes. A first rank strike, which you can learn as early as first level, Necrotic Strike. All it does is it allows your weapon to deal necrotic damage or force damage, and you add 1 power die, and that first level will be a d6. But if we meander on down to the damage types as a meta power feat, you don't have access to force or necrotic as an option for just dealing damage. You deal this damage, it doesn't cost anything for you to do it, but you had to learn how to do it, so it costs you one of your known powers. And it doesn't deal any extra dice of damage when you do so. So you're basically allowing yourself the option of, like, say, picking up necrotic damage as an advanced damage type at 5th. So there's actual relevance there. We could give them Necrotic Strike at 3rd. So let's do that. SDR 1. And then you can just deal necrotic damage at all times at 5th. Yeah, that'll work. Let's see. 1, 2. We still need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still need 6 of these. So let's go back up into our strikes, because Necrotic Strike did make sense because the whole death thing is revolving around necrosis. So let's keep with that theme. That actually feels okay. No, necrotic damage that. Necrotic damage now. Rider Revival? I don't know, man. Rider Revival. You get that 1 point for free. But you might want 5d10 hit points instead. So why not? Yeah, why not? Anchor, Flicker Fate. Fickle Fate. As a reaction to when a creature you can see makes an ability check, attack roll, or a saving throw, you can alter fate, granting the creature advantage or disadvantage on the roll. Redirect, no. One's own luck. As a reaction to rolling 1 or more power dice, you can re-roll any number of dice and take the higher result. That's fun. Ooh, Curse of the Fallen Puppet. Maybe that feels like Long Death. As a reaction to when a creature within 30 feet of you drops to 0 hit points, you can command the creature to move up to half its speed and make a melee attack against a creature you can't see, adding 1 power die to the attack roll. The creature then dies. Let's just add that in because it's cool. Curse of the Fallen Puppet. I'll give you something to be scared of. Parry, punish. As a reaction to when an enemy you can see with range of your weapon attack misses an attack roll against you or an ally, you can make an opportunity attack, adding 1 power die to the attack roll. Opt. There's a lot of fate spinning in here. I kind of like that. I didn't really see how much of a fate spin subclass, subgenre there is inside of here. Great Fortitude. As a reaction to failing a Strength or Constitution saving throw, reroll the d20. Well, you never have to take... you never have to make death saves because you can just choose to have 1 mana. So that doesn't seem like it's anything necessary. No. Okay, I think we're good there. Wave of Terror. We talked about Wave of Terror earlier. Nah, it's not a fear build. It just has fear baked into it. Lift, Shunt, nah. Pack Tactics, Phase, Lethargy. Cursed Brand. You curse a creature you can see to make saving throws against your powers with disadvantage. The effect ends when the creature succeeds. No, that doesn't specifically say long death anything towards it. Swift Attunement, Assessment. Oh, Swift Resuscitation. You can stabilize a dying creature you touch and restore 1 power die of hit points. Swift Resuscitation, actually, you can stabilize a dying creature. I like that. Swift Resuscitation actually works. Holy crap. Swift Resuscitation. Is that... Thank you. What is that? A first rank maneuver. I like that. I actually like that. Wow, I found somebody who could actually use Swift Resuscitation sensibly. That's awesome. Brain of Axiom, nah. Beguiling Trance, not so much. Assassination. When you deal damage with a weapon attack to a target that has yet to act in combat or is unaware of your attack, you automatically deal maximum damage, including any additional damage dice such as sneak attack or when channeling a strike power. For 4 mana per pop, it stays statistically within curve of what you could do, but it sure, when an effect or condition other than incapacitated or death reduces your movement. No, that was unstoppable. When you deal damage with a weapon attack. This is an exploit, so it can stack with a strike. So you could dump 5 mana in. Ooh, wait. When you deal damage with a weapon attack to a target, you could technically use this with the Touch of Long Death. No, you can't, because it's not an attack roll. This is just a touch. Oh, that's perfect. I am on board with that. Okay, I am really on board with keeping that a saving throw now. I'm really on board with that now. That's great. At the same time, assassination isn't it isn't a horrible idea. Do we want to do that? There's so few classes that just say assassination is like our thing. I like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we only need 2 more. Holy crap. Coordinated attack, coordinated dash, brand, beguiling, blah. Assassinate, first strike, precise strike, bursting damage, empowered synergy. Cooperative effort, veterinary training, nerve focus, tactical assessment, swift tools, subtle channeling, sage knowledge. None of this is jumping out at me. Resilience, when you make a saving throw, you can roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest result. Nah. Range power, proselytizer. Add power dice to skill checks. Excuse me. No. Nope. I don't see anything else here. None of these other mana powers. So, necrotic strike. Let's check out feats. What are some cool feats that might make sense for the Way of the Long Death to know? Mobile, King Mind, Inspired Leader, Fighter Initiate. Thanks again, Alan, for the Inspiring Leader call out. Great idea. Chef, not specifically. Alert, crossbow. No, nothing here is jumping out. How about masteries? Shock, step, straggle, vex. God, none of these jump out as obvious as either. Let's check these again to make sure I didn't miss something. Nope. Nothing there. How about... And we have the damage types already. We have the necrotic damage that we already gave you at 5th. Yeah? Shit. Alright, we're going to have to get imaginative now, guys. Luckily, we only have 2 things we have to be imaginative about. So let's see if we can stay inside the first rank and just define some just cheeky little cheats. I mean, we can cheat some shit in. Let's check our strikes again real quick. Deal acid or poison damage. Nah. Nope, wasn't there. Okay. Let's see. Power defense as a reaction to when you were hit by an attack roll from a source you can see. Roll a number of power dice equal to the mana burned. You get a bonus to AC. How long are we doing this? We are streaming. Where's it tell me how long we're streaming? Drop frame 0. There it is. Let's pick this up a bit. There. We've been at it for an hour. That's fine. Let's see. We're so close to done here. I know I'm being picky. Flatten. Choose a creature within 30 feet. It takes 1 power die of damage per mana spent. If it fails a strength save, it's not prone and it can't get up again until it succeeds a saving throw. That's funny. Like lay down, they all fall. They all lay down. They're all dead, but that's just tangentially. Empowered. Use a bonus action to channel maneuver. You can make a weapon attack as part of the bonus attack. Nah. When making an ability check that lets you use animal handling, medicine, or survival skill, okay, maybe there's a sensible skill in here. Unnerving focus, intimidate, or concentration checks gain bonuses. No, it's more like grit, but I like the medicine. Let's see if there's another medical. Field medic. There it is. When making an ability check that can use medicine or survival or a healer's kit, that feels appropriate. So field medic. Field medic. That is going to be exploit 1. And then we're going to steal swift resuscitation. And we're going to drop it down into 9th. And you can gain this earlier. You just get it for free at that level. So we're just trying to find how do things stack up. Like swift resuscitation is a more advanced form of field medic, if you want to look at it that way. Like field medic helps make sure you hit your survival checks, while swift resuscitation is like, boop, you're healed. So that makes sense. So I like that. And all we need is one more. Give me one more here, buddy. Just one more. Ground fighting, gymnast, inquisitive, master burglar, overrun, natural hunter, practice charlatan, proselytizer, resilient. When making a saving throw, you can roll. Ride the wind, sage knowledge, subtle channeling, swift tools, tactical assessment, unnerving focus, cooperative effort, empowered synergy, precise attack, burst and strike, opportunistic, action, coordinated dash, curse of the muddled mind, a goad. We already have a healing off of the monk's base kit. Generation, shunt lift, curse, flicker, curse of enfeeblement. Incapacitator. No, that's a grappling thing. Power defense, faint. As a reaction to failing, no. Opt, punish, parry, counter, curse. I love picking up curse. That was great. One's a luck. Target, fickle fate, inker, proof, right or revival. Come on, my guy. Strike, flaming, goading, freezing, grappling, necrotic, psionic, radiant, shocking, sweeping, thunder, asium, blinding, intimidating, life stealing, poisoning, straining, tripping, delusional, deluding strike, paralyzing strike, banishing strike, nope. Blind Sense, Cliff Runner, Collection Stance, Dire Impact, Same power, weapon attacks, or magic, and you can add a bonus to your weapon damage rolls equal to your max. Oh, equal to your max rank of power. That's not bad. Elemental resistance. Okay, Dire Impact is kind of legit. It's inspired skill. When sustaining this power, you gain proficiency in a skill or tool of your choice. You can channel this power. Linquist, Ranged Skirmisher. Saving Grace. While sustaining this power, you have advantage on saving throws. I was looking at that. Maybe Saving Grace. Second rank. No, it's a first rank reaction. Astute. Opportunist. Sturdy, like a lobster. Alright. God, what a flavorless idea, though. That pisses me off. It's just nothing else is locking in is obvious to me. Hey, anyone that's checking this out in the future, if there's something here you think is a better fit than Dire Impact, I'll gladly take it. I'm going to take Field Medic here and Swift Resuscitation here. Let's go with Dire Impact here. Dire Impact. That's going to be Sus 1. And again, it reads... While sustaining this power, weapon attacks are magic, and you can add a bonus to your weapon damage rolls equal to your max rank of power. At 9th level, when you gain this, your max rank of power is 3. So it's basically you're going to maintain one mana worth of power here, and it's going to give you a +3 bonus to your attack rolls. This is a blanket +3 bonus. What else do you got? Sus 3, Sus 1. We're not overclocking the sustain pile. Okay, that'll work. Okay. We'll do that. It's not great. Yeah, it's not perfect. But it's not horrible. It's an extra 12. If you hit with all of your attacks, it's an extra 12 damage per round for free. It's not horrible. All right, we'll keep it. It's better than Bless. So actually, it's about the same statistically about Bless, but Bless is stretched out over 4 people. as opposed to this all just being dumped into you. I do not, we've been at this for over an hour. I do not have time for Way of the Open Hand, but we have Open Hand and Sun Soul left, and then we're pretty close to done with Sun Soul, we think. So that'll finish those, but we do have a little time left, so let's actually keep working through revisiting the Ranger subclasses. We left off with the Fey Wanderer. The Rangers and Paladins are half casters, so they get access to spells already. What we're doing here is we're providing them with an alternate spell casting, a different mana resource instead of spell slots. And all these subclasses, basically at this point, are gaining a list of 10 free spells that they know. What you can do with this power system is, instead of learning a spell, you can learn a power of the equivalent level. So instead of learning, like, say, healing word, like a ranger, a healing word at first level, if they had access to that, I don't remember. They could instead learn any of these first rank powers instead of that spell, for instance. So their stuff is largely unchanged, but because they aren't gaining a bunch of bonus powers, we did modifications. You can check out, like, I think it was like episode 86 that we were going over details about changes to the base class features to lean into the power system and the channeling class feature. So we spent some time, and obviously you can look at it right now, but we spent a lot of time there. So we did a lot of modifications using power to the base chassis of the Ranger, left them mostly just bound by spells, skipped giving them a bonus power list because they get a bonus spell list, and we aren't there to replace it. We're just adding to what they could choose to learn instead. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna take this. I'm going to push it down here to Gloomstalker. I'm going to step away from a hot second and blow my nose. And we're back. All right, so let's chew on the Fey Wanderer and see if there's any changes that we want to make to the Fey Wanderer. We might have time for... We're at 107. We'll probably have time for one or two. Fey Wanderer. That is interesting. Hold on. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. Wait for it. Beastmaster. Yeah, Beastmaster gains no spells. Drag Warden gains no spells. Fey Wanderer gains 5 spells. Gloomstalker gains 5 spells. Horizon Walker gains 5 spells. Hunter gains no spells. Monster Slayer gains 5 spells. Swarm Keeper gains 5 spells. Oh, really? Okay. Well, let's prepare to eat my hat. Let's take a look at the Paladin real quick to see if the Paladin gets 2 spells per level. Give me an oath. Oath. 1, 2. Paladin gets 10. Well, look at that. Okay, it looks like I'm going to gladfully eat a little bit of crow here. We have yet some more work to do. Gift. Where does it say features? I want features that says features. Okay, so. One second to gather myself, and then we'll have a conversation. Okay, using this system, everyone is going to get 16 powers to choose from by 20th level. And everyone's getting a stack of 10 extra powers that they learn. The paladin is getting 10 spells that they learn over the course of their levels, so they're not getting any powers. We've just recognized and realized here, live on camera, that the ranger at best is getting 5 spells, or none. So that tells us, just like the monk doesn't get any bonus powers normally, but we're giving them to him. This means that the power list is going to have 10. The Drake Warden is going to get 10. Fey Wanderer is going to get 5, because you get 5 bonus spells. Now you're going to get 5 powers to go with those spells. I like that. I like that a lot. That makes me very, very happy. Okay. We're discovering things about ourselves today, folks. Beast, Drake, Fae. Gloomstalker doesn't get any powers, so we're going to give Gloomstalker 10. Horizon Walker gets 5 spells, so he's going to get 5. So he's going to get 5 powers. Hunter. I don't think the Hunter got any, right? Whoa, that went off into the infinite. This is working out. I'm really happy. Which means we'll need to go back through and we're going to need to flesh out power lists for all these guys too, which is a joy to do. But let's just make sure we know our pacing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Hunter gets nothing. Monster Slayer gets spells. So Hunter, Monster Slayer gets 5. Oh, and there's some cool shit I know we can do with Monster Slayer. This is great! I think the Stormkeeper gets spells. Let's verify. Verify, Mother Hubbard. Gathering the Swarm. Storm spells. Oh. 1, 2. Oh, that's a cantrip. That doesn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. So Stormkeeper gets 5. This is awesome. All right, so we're gonna be able to consistently kit everybody out to get, the bits. Everyone gets the bits. So that's cool. We'll have to go back up and build out Healy bits for these dudes. But let's stay on task. Let's see if we can create the Fey Warden. Fey Yonderer. Check out its strikes and stuff, and then let's see if we can rewind back up and hit the power curve for all these that we've done already, just to stay on curve. Let's see if we can just do it. So, having said that, long story short, too late. Fey Wanderer. Fey Wanderer. A Fey! Mystique surrounds you. Thanks to the boons of the Archfey, the shining fruit you ate from a talking tree, the magic spring you swam in, or some other auspicious event. However you acquired your Fey magic, you are now a Fey Wanderer, a ranger who represents both the mortal and the Fey realms. As you wander the multiverse, your joyful laughter brightens the hearts of the downtrodden, and your martial prowess strikes terror into your foes. For great is the mirth of the Fey, and dreadful is their fury. Dreadful strikes! Dreadful strikes! You can augment your weapon strikes with mind-scarring magic. Draw from the gloomy hollows of the Feywild. When you hit a creature with a weapon, you can deal an extra d4 psychic damage on the target, which can take this extra damage only once per turn. The extra damage increases to d6 when you reach 11th level in this class. That feels lackluster. What was our original solution? When you hit your marked prey with a weapon attack, deal an extra power die of psychic damage. I like that. So let's just go touch prey. Let's just go touch grass real quick with what the changes we've made to Mark of Prey. So first level feature replaces Hunter's Mark spell. It replaces favorite enemy feature, favored foe, optional class features. Starting at first level, you gain 1 point of temporary mana that can be used as a bonus action to mark a creature that you can see as your prey. You can tap or lock this mana to sustain Mark of Prey as a first rank power. And while sustained, you can use a bonus action to mark a different creature as your prey. You can use your bonus action this way immediately when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, applying any additional effects gained by a Mark of Prey to the creature you hit. Any additional effect. Right, okay, so effects. While sustaining Mark of Prey, you gain advantage with attacks, as well as int, investigation, and wisdom, insight, perception, survival checks. When you hit your prey with a weapon attack, you can reduce the cost of channeling a strike by 1 mana to a minimum of 0. For example, if a 5th level ranger hits the marked prey, you can add 1 point of mana from your pool to channel a 2nd rank strike, dealing 2 additional power dice of damage. You can use this feature once, regaining it and the point of temporary mana when you finish a short or long rest, or when you burn 1 point of mana to regain it sooner. Starting at 7th level, as a ranger, when you lock Mark of Prey, lock it instead of just sustaining it. It can be sustained even while you're unconscious and during a long rest. The prey can make a wisdom saving throw versus your channeling DC at the end of each 24 hours to escape the effect. Starting at 13th level, when you lock Mark of Prey, again, locking it, only 1 mana, you can mark a different creature as your prey as part of the attack action without using a bonus action to do so. In addition, so basically every time you hit something, if you mark it as your prey, you'll be able to flip it over and then get the free strike power against whatever that new target is. So that's going to end up being a shitload of extra free mana that you're going to gain as a result of this mark. Mark of Prey can be combined with empowered strikes, empowered attacks to be able to ramp up additional strike power for free. A different market as your prey is part of an attack without using a bonus action to do so. You can mark a different creature once per round, period. Yeah, once per round. Yeah, I like that. Mark of Prey can be combined with Empowered Strikes. And when you can score a critical hit against your Mark of Prey with a roll of 19 or 20. Empowered Attacks. Death Mark. Even more. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Drake. Okay, so knowing what we now know about the Fey Wanderer, Dreadful Strikes. When you hit your Mark Prey with a weapon attack, you can choose to deal psychic damage. Oh yeah, and you don't have to. I mean, you get the strike power for free, which you can absolutely take advantage of. But this just lets you deal psychic damage. Bravo. Okay, and then where are we at? Excuse me. Weapon, you can deal an extra D6 for psychic damage. Yeah, do not need that. And the damage, this extra D6, D4 psychic damage, you're going to get a free, every time you hit a marked target, you get to deal an extra D6 or a D8 or eventually a D10, which is going to always outstrip the D4, D6 that you get for psychic damage. And it simplifies the action loop, so it's easier to remember what you're doing. Fey Wanderer Magic. Third level Wandering Magic, Fey Wanderer, blah, 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 extra spells. Feywild Gift. I don't think I actually need to worry about that. Butterflies, Season, Shadow, blah. Otherworldly Glamour. That is actually what I was looking for. Otherworld Glamour. You and your European you. Your Fey qualities give you a supernatural charm as a result whenever you make a charisma check. You gain a bonus to the check equal to your wisdom modifier. equal to the max rank of power gained as a ranger, which can get up to 5 at 17th level. I like that. In addition, you gain the skilled feat, gaining proficiency in deception, performance, and persuasion. If you have any of these already, you can choose a different skill, tool, or language. Awesome. Very happy with that. Beguiling Twist. The magic of the Feywild guards your mind. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. Okay. In addition, whenever you or a creature you can see within 120 feet of you succeeds on a saving throw against being charmed or frightened, you can use your reaction to force a different creature you can see within 120 feet of you to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. If the save fails, the target is charmed or frightened by you. Excuse me, guys. Target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a successful save. Ah, ha, ha. Okay. Beguiling twist. Oops. No change. God damn it. There. Okay, Fey Reinforcements, 11th level, Fey Wandering feature. The Royal Courts of the Feywild have blessed you with the assistance of Fey beings. You know these summon Fey. You know Summon Fey, a spell in Chapter 3. It doesn't count against the number of ranged spells you know, and you can cast it without a material component. You can also cast it once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. Whenever you start casting the spell, you can modify it so that it doesn't require concentration. If you do so, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute for that casting. Okay. Yeah, I have no reason to change that. And Summon Fey, I believe, is already... third level, right? Yeah, third level. I don't have any reason to change this. It's good to go. Misty Wanderer. We might see changes here. Misty Wanderer, 15th level Fey Wanderer feature. You can slip in and out of the Feywild to move in a blink of an eye. You can cast Misty Step without expending a spell slot. You can do so a number of times equal to your Wisdom modifier. And regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, whenever you cast Misty Step, you can bring along one million creature with you. You can cast Misty Step without expanding spell slot. Max rank power gain as a ranger. And regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, whenever you cast Misty Step, there. Just clean up that language a little bit. And that finishes him. So that's good. Where are we at on time? Because I think I ate up a lot of it. 1 hour and 28 minutes. Alright, this is where we're at here with the Gloomstalker. 5 here. Okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to come back tomorrow. When we do... Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut it here, but we will be back tomorrow. So when we come back tomorrow, we will first resolve Way of the Open Hand. And after resolve Open Hand, assuming we have time, we will then flesh out the list of 10 powers that we should gain as a Beastmaster. If there's still time, we'll flesh out the 10 things that we should gain as Drake Warden. If there's still time, We'll flesh out the 5 powers that you'll get as a Fey Wanderer. And there probably won't be extra time, but that'll be tomorrow. And then on Friday, we'll come back. And on Friday, we will finish Monk with Sun Soul. Flesh out its 10 powers. We will then, if we hadn't resolved Fey Wanderer yet, we shall. Assuming that we had, we will then work through revisions, a second sweep on Gloomstalker, and if possible, get the 10 power list for the Gloomstalker. That'll be on Friday, and I'm assuming that's as far as we're going to get, which means that this time next week when we come back on Monday, all we'll have to work on is finishing the Gloomstalker if we hadn't already, updating, revising the Horizon Walker with the 5 powers that it gets, and I suspect we'll be able to get through Hunter and its 10 powers. And then on Tuesday next week, Monster Slayer feature revisions plus the power lists, Swarm Keeper revisions and power lists, and that'll be it. So I suspect we're going to be done with all of these revisions, revised revisions and revisions. All of them should be done by Tuesday next week. And if that is the case, then we will be able to focus in on playing with monsters, equipment, like power gear, like making power items, examples of power items, examples of power kits for creatures. And then I think, so that'll be Tuesday next week. Let me check my calendar here real quick. So that'll be Tuesday next week. That will be finished on the 5th. I believe, and then I can then focus on, we can then get Eldraine. We can keep working on the Eldraine creatures, get Eldraine taken care of on the 8th and the 11th. And then on the 12th, I suspect we're going to be at a place on the 12th, maybe making more power gear and creature examples. And then let's say let's make a goal that by December 18th we're going to start officially working on our playtest campaign. So by the 18th we should be shifting gears a little bit into building. We'll be shifting gears and putting on the DM hat and start building out our kit for having characters play inside of, and we'll start getting serious about organizing our playtest content. So we're getting there, my laddies. We're very much getting there. That's exciting. Yeah, that's really exciting. Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and call it now. I'm going to be back tonight in about 5 hours. We'll be back to do more creature tokens for the Eberron adventure that we are going to be publishing on DMsGuild, that we are creating with our co-creators, Andy Heatley, our co-writer, and Stuart Braz, our editor. I am really looking forward to getting some more art and some more musings done tonight. I'm looking forward to being back tomorrow morning. I will do more Spelljammer art tomorrow morning, and again, more martial powers. Finishing up, hopefully, finishing up the monk tomorrow. So, if you think this stuff's cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I'm here in the future. Check out some of the stuff I have linked down below. If you think any of it's cool, consider making a purchase for 5. Yeah, hopefully I'll see some of you guys back in 5 hours. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Yes.